The Uruguayan government contradicts itself, and the scandal continues over the delivery of a legal passport to a well-known drug trafficker who is now a fugitive. From Montevideo, our correspondent Mateo Grile with the details.
The consequences of the delivery of a legal Uruguayan passport to an international drug trafficker who was detained in Dubai and is now a fugitive from Paraguayan justice continues to complicate the government of Luis Lacalle Pou. In August, the opposition questioned the Interior and Foreign Affairs ministers, who said that drug trafficker Sebastian Marset was not being investigated when his passport was processed.
Until March the 3rd, we didn't have confirmation that Mr. Marset was being investigated by Europol, by Paraguayan intelligence, or by DEA. There was no open cases until March the 3rd.
But after the release of a series of chats between the vice ministers of the Interior, Guillermo Maciel, and of Foreign Relations, Carolina H., in which Marset is recognized as a dangerous and heavy drug trafficker, the authorities were left in a very complicated position. In the inquiry, Vice Minister H. said that no one had warned her about Marset's dangerousness.
As Undersecretary Maciel said, on those two occasions he asked me for specific information on the situation of this Mr. Marset, to which I, through my secretary's office, answered him punctually what he asked me. He did not give me any details as to what he asked me, because he said it was a reserved matter, and I answered him, and nothing more than that.
When these exchanges became known, the opposition demanded the resignation of the heads of both ministries for having lied when they appeared before Parliament to explain this situation.
The broad front party believes that they should resign and believes that the president should ask them to resign immediately for the sake of democracy. No one is bad-mouthing the ministers and no one is questioning them in personal terms, but they have acted in a way that weakens the Uruguayan democratic system. And when these things happen, governments have to ask for resignations or ministers have to resign for shame or omission.
But President Luis Lacalle Pou came out to support the actions of his ministers, criticized the opposition, and pointed out that the events were in accordance with the law.
The opposition, whose actions I may or may not agree with, in reality I think they hate everything that moves. This opposition knows, honestly knows, that the law was respected and that the Uruguayan government could not act in any other way regarding this issue. I add, unfortunately.
The contradiction between what the chats show and what the leading members of Parliament said led the Vice Foreign Ministry to be questioned.
We are addressing this issue. The Citizens Platform understands that this is an issue that requires a great deal of attention. We are not questioning the support to the Undersecretary in any sense.
Sebastian Marset is an Uruguayan drug trafficker who was incarcerated in Uruguay and is currently wanted in Paraguay for drug trafficking. He is also linked to the murder of Colombian prosecutor Marcelo Presi. He was imprisoned in Dubai for having entered that country with a false Paraguayan passport. From prison, he applied for an Uruguayan passport and obtained it in record time. He used that document to get out of prison, and with it, he escaped from Dubai. Today, he's a fugitive and is wanted by the international justice system.
Mateo Grile, TeleSUR, Montevideo, Uruguay.